fan, Joao, to tell you about how can you find out if you are good enough to write good research that is published in ABS 4 and above. That's what we're going for at the moment, ABS 4 and above. And that's great. That's great. You don't need to just publish in J or SQ. ABS 4 and 4 star. How do you know you are good enough? And the answer to that is yes. What do I mean to say that the answer to how do I find out am I good enough is yes? The answer is you are good enough. You are good enough. And the reason I know you are good enough is because of the trade-off between genius and data. Genius. Carl Weick is a genius. If you look at Carl Weick's ASQ pieces, they are based on, press clippings, reports of specific instance. I am not a genius. I could never write a strong theoretical contribution from that type of data. Okay? But I spent 15 months studying salespeople, and I was able to write a strong theoretical contribution from those data. Okay? So how do you know if you can publish in ABS 4, very good journal, top journal? Do you have good enough data to compensate for your lack of genius? Okay? That's it. Now, I'll give you an example from these data myself, right? Data have some more obvious theoretical contributions that people that are not very smart, like myself, can write for a top journal. And then data have more difficult theoretical contributions that maybe even people like myself can write for a top journal, but they just need more time and more work. They're more difficult, and therefore the possibility of rejection is higher. Okay? So I have a paper that I haven't submitted again yet that was a third round reject from the Academy of Management Journal. From my 15-month fieldwork data, that is using that data to make a difficult theoretical contribution that I love very much. I won't tell you what it is, because you have to wait to see the paper you're writing. But then I have my other paper, the dramaturgical model of performance data, and then the transfiguration work paper, which is based on that data, but where the theoretical contribution is very close to the data. Okay? So, how can you know if you are able to publish in a top journal? Do you have good enough data? And good enough data is a matter of time. It's a matter of time investment, okay? And obviously, time is a privilege, and I recognize that. That I didn't have to teach when I was doing my PhD, many others have, okay? But there are ways, collecting data online and so on, where even in more difficult situations, it is possible for you to get data. Okay? Data, that's how you know. In the end, you're in academia, you have some taste and some inclination, some predisposition to write and to do research. So in the end, if you are not good enough to be Carl Weick, you just have to find the data that is good enough to do that. And then it is your role to just tell that story. Now, but then you say, yeah, but I need a theory, a theoretical contribution, a framing. Yes, you do. And this is very easy to achieve. You just need to present your research often enough that by listening to what people think, by listening to people's feedback, you will get that insight. And then it's just bringing the two things together, the data and the insight. And I during my PhD, I was privileged to present my research to exceptional academics. Oops, sorry, bad hair day. To exceptional academics. But most of the helpful feedback that I got were from junior academics in Portugal and in Italy, because they were the ones that are most steeped into the literature, because they were also doing their PhD at the time, and they really helped me. Okay. Right now, there are a lot of fora for people from underprivileged communities and from the Global South to get support and mentorship, and you search for those and use them as much as you can. And obviously, you can always reach me for feedback and help. So you can do this, and the way you know whether you can do this or not is whether your data are good enough to compensate for your lack of genius. Okay? And when I finished my PhD, I knew that I was not a genius. I knew that I was not good enough to write from weak data, but I knew that I had strong data. And that was a source of solace and confidence. I knew that the only thing I had to do was to write a paper that stayed as close to the data as possible. Okay? Hope this was helpful, and please do feel free to reach me if you have some interesting data and want to discuss about how to make it into a co-manuscript. I'm not a genius, but I've been around. Thanks everybody. Good luck with your writing.